Beware to thee beyond normal. For I and the ocean will have our revenge for you stealing me locked? How's me own door being locked? Phew! Sure is stormy out there. Glad I'm bundled up in this abandoned coastal building and not trapped out there. Cue intro! You know how some movies should just rather be called films? Like, where is that artsy line we draw between a regular movie and a film? Is it a film if it's black and white? No. Young Frankenstein is definitely a movie, that I'm sure of.
Don't miss Young Frankenstein in black and white.
Are you sure about that?
Is it a film when it's a serious story? Oh, heck no. Most modern stories think they're being very serious.
Why does it hurt so much?
Because it was real.
So, no. Well, regardless of what makes a film and a movie, I think I'm not alone in saying 2019's The Lighthouse by Robert Eggers is very much a film-type movie. Which pretty much sounds like I'm saying, of course peanut butter is ground legume paste. Technically not wrong, but now people think you're pretentious, and you only watch tonally heavy films. Please don't take my art degree away. But I guess it's technically not wrong to rather call The Lighthouse a film rather than a movie, and technically not wrong means technically right after all.
You are technically correct. The best kind of correct.
And since this is a film, I can't just do a review of it, else someone might just come and say I'm not artistic at all. So I guess this is now an analysis. That means we get to use title cards. I'm gonna keep this one a bit more brief than usual, but still full spoiler warning for most of the key plot points, themes, and, general stuff that, since this is an artsy film, probably has no definitive, this is what it means, answers. We start off with two men where's the rest of the movie? A narrow aspect ratio? And it's black and white! Ooh, we're in for an interesting artsy-fartsy spooky time, friendos. We start off as two men arrive at the island, where the titular lighthouse of the film called, The Lighthouse, is located, accompanied by a foghorn, warning us of the dangers that lie ahead. After making themselves at home in their new lodgings, the younger of the two lighthouse keepers, after getting farted at, discovers a bone carving, or as my sailor-esque demographic would call it, scrimshaw, idol of a mermaid hidden in his mattress, which he then proceeds to pocket. And boy, howdy doody do we know about mermaids, friendos. The two keepers share their welcoming meal, where the younger of the two learns his place in this upcoming relationship twixt himself and the old man.
Well, I ain't trying for trouble.
Then you do as I say.
Oh, he doesn't even get to keep the light as a lighthouse keeper.
Well, I was expecting to get up to see the lantern.
I can deny you.
Well, at least the old guy gives a pretty good toast.
Should pale death with treble dread make the ocean caves our bed, God, who hears the surges roll, deign to save our suppliant soul.
Chores get done and foghorns blare, as we see just what keeping a light actually means to old keeper here.
Oh, yeah.
Whilst elsewhere on the island, young keeper spots the floating corpse of someone that gives him a case of the heebie-jeebies, along with a brief glimpse of a mermaid. This feels strangely familiar. Thankfully, it was all just a dream. Deja vu. Which I'm extremely sorry to say, Mr. Name not given, but it's never a good sign to be dreaming of mermaids. Later, while further doing chores, we are introduced to our third star of this film, Mr. One-Eyed Gull, a real foil to our hero if you know what I mean. Honestly, it was just such a pleasure to be working with the great Mr. Eggers and getting my voice out there, you know. There aren't a lot of gulls, less those one-eyed ones within the acting world out there. And currently, it is a great place to defecate and to eat chips. The gull never moors at Young Keeper. Ooh, ominous. Later, our younger lighthouse keeper does some redundant backbreaking work.
Tired? Use this next time.
More dinner and one beautiful toast later.
Should pale death with treble dread make the ocean caves our bed, God who hears the surges roll, deign to save the suppliant soul.
Mr. Senior tries some social bonding betwixt himself and his fellow keeper.
Now's the time for gab and chatter. Let's be enjoying it.
And the importance of why alcohol is fine and dandy to drink on his watch.
The only medicine is drink.
Which the younger keeper doesn't care for. Plus, the mysterious happenings of the previous assistant lighthouse keeper.
Died. Went mad, he did. Raving about sirens, merfolk, bad omens, and the like.
Madness, you say? Sirens and oceanic myths, you say? Interesting, very interesting.
Ocean madness.
Also that it is bad luck to mess with seabirds.
Bad luck to kill a seabird.
I mean, just don't mess with birds regardless of geographic location is what I always say. We learn both men have their own weird ideas of self-love, and after flexing his mid-managerial muscles at Young,
I mopped and swept twice over.
Ye lying dog.
and Young standing up for himself,
I ain't never intended to be no housewife nor slave in taking this job.
the full seniority wrath of authority from old comes down upon him.
Contradict me again, and I'll dock your wages.
Time passes, chores get done, and workplace accidents happen, leading, what was your name again? Young Keeper here to have an encounter with the one-eyed gull again. Well, people often don't realize that I was, in fact, channeling the spirit of Poe's work. Much like the Raven, I would be a foil to this man, and I would, squawk at him and make his life shit. Metaphorically speaking, of course. Now, on the topic of names,
Ephraim Winslow. This last 2 weeks, sir, I'd like it if you'd call me by my name.
I've been wanting to call you by your name this whole time, but here we are, over 30 minutes in, and now only are we introducing ourselves? Ephraim Winslow, and just like that, after the introduction of a name, he is far more willing to chat than earlier in the film. And thus the two bond. Turns out Winslow used to be a lumberjack that just wanted a fresh start. Nothing more than that. Nothing nefarious at all. He promises.
Ain't nothing wrong with a man starting fresh, starting new, just looking to earn a living.
Plus, we learn about gulls.
Why is it bad luck to kill a gull?
In them's the souls of sailors, what met their maker.
Ooh, just like crows carry the souls of sad murdered musicians. More time, more chores, more administration, more secrets, and more weird sexual symbolism. We discover that the water has gone icky. Well, you see, the problem is your cistern here has a dead gull in it. Very bad for your DWQ. That's your drinking water quality. Got the souls of dead sailors all up in the pipes now. And with another visit from the one-eyed gull, that gives a Poe-esque Nevermore-ish laugh. Winslow here loses it and beats the gull to death, which I don't want to show here, so enjoy this dramatic reenactment. Ephraim, I really hope this doesn't come back to haunt you.
Winds in the east. Mist coming in. Like something is brewing. About to begin.
But soon the men celebrate their last night on the island as their relief is heading over there soonish. But still, Winslow is not allowed up near the light as old... Hey! Winslow told us his name. How about you do the same?
A Christian name.
Thomas.
Tom.
Aye, Thomas Wake.
Tom and Winslow get down to drinking. The next day, stinky smelly doom starts for Winslow while cleaning the bedpans. Appropriate reaction, sir. No one can blame you. Soon, getting distracted from his chores, he runs off and discovers a mermaid on the rocks that shrieks at him with foghorns blowing in the background. Oh, and did I mention a storm rolling in? But I'm sure it won't interfere with any plans. The very next scene. Now stuck at the lighthouse, the storm raging ferociously, we learn that the food is already an issue, and that being stranded here is a very real possibility.
Stranded?
That's what I said.
As it has happened in the past.
75.
Oh, Stryker was marooned here for 7 long months he was.
Why did you have to tempt fate, Winslow? It was your last day. You could have just left that gull alone. But thankfully, Thomas has a stash of rations, a la Captain Jack Sparrow, buried on the island.
Rations.
But after some boozing, doubting,
You must have misheard.
food weirdness,
If I had a steak, I would it.
and arguing,
You're fond of me, lobster. Say it.
Thomas delivers one of the most chilling monologues that could be mustered forth from the primordial oozes of nautical sailordom and oceanic folklore.
Let Neptune strike ye dead, Winslow! Hark!
Essentially cursing him and his whole existence, as one does.
Even any scantling of your soul is Winslow no more.
More time, more brooding, more suspicious activity, more foghorns, and some almost murder later, Winslow gives in to his baser urges with drinking and masturbation and weird artsy-fartsy symbolic images, like this one that represents and this one that symbolizes a. Ooh, and this, of course, all the way up, and of course the very representation of the act of and out of the hole, including images of the back of someone's head. Hey, Winslow, is this your subconscious? Are you guilt-ridden or something? Anyways, Winslow breaks the mermaid, and we see that at some point he discovers, or he thinks he discovers, or something, a one-eyed decapitated head in a lobster trap. Just like the one-eyed gull. And after some more boozing, some fast dancing, some slow dancing, and some almost kissing, Ephraim Winslow tells us that he isn't really who he says he is.
I'm Thomas. I'm Thomas. You're Ephraim. I lied.
Hour and a quarter-ish in, and names are getting dropped into our laps again. At least you are who you claim to be, right, Mr. One-Eyed Gull? It was of the utmost importance that the human did not know who I really was. I would have to shiv him later. So now Thomas, other Thomas, talks about how he totally promises he didn't kill the real Ephraim Winslow and steal his identity, but rather just watched him die and then stole his identity.
Ephraim Winslow, well, now he'd got a spiffy clean slate, and Thomas Howard, well, he don't.
Completely different story, harmless crime, nobody got hurt. More rain, more nightmarish visions, more foghorns, and one escape attempt later...
Don't leave me!
Promptly followed by Old Tom destroying the dory, aka Little Wooden Boat. Or so it seems? You see, dealing with madness and insanity and whatnot as a theme in a film makes quite for the unreliable narrator. And it seems as though, according to Old Tom here, that Young Tom is the one that has been going a little axe crazy.
And I knew you was mad when you smashed up that lifeboat just now and chasing me with an axe trying to kill Old Tom.
And again, I'm not sure if this is all regular gull murdering craziness, or guilt confession craziness, or just plain old-fashioned gaslighting, but I'm pretty sure I saw you with an axe not too long ago, Tom. But after the booze runs out and the two Toms start drinking turpentine, followed by the storm wrecking their little home, Little Tom discovers that Old Tom has been bad-mouthing him in their employer's corporate ledger.
Work below standard, given to habitual self-abuse. Recommend severance without pay.
Which is probably the best reason for murder I have heard in quite a while. And after they argue and they accuse...
Will you kill me like you done that gull?
I did!
Liar! You murdering dog! 'Twas ye what changed the wind on us. 'Twas ye what damned us, dog. 'Twas ye.
When will you learn that your actions have consequences? They fight, they hallucinate, and they start punching, followed by the power dynamic shifting in a hard and strange way.
Back, I said, back!
As Young Tom leads Old Tom outside on a leash like a dog, in order to bury him alive. Oh, of course, while monologuing.
What protean forms swim up from men's minds and melt in hot Promethean plunder.
Oh, wait, Tom, are you saving him? Is this redemption? Oh no, you just wanted to get his keys. The keys to the lighthouse? Tom, you thinking what I'm thinking?
Belongs to me!
Again, unreliable narrators, so maybe another attempt at murder, maybe not, but I think Tom is dead. And Young Tom echoes the toast from the start of the film.
Barrel death and triple drain. Like the ocean caves our bed.
We thusly make our way, wounded and bloodied, up the lighthouse, unlocking the Fresnel lens before the deadlights of the lighthouse bathes Tom in its glow, driving him to madness, or maybe ecstasy, maybe even both, before falling down the staircase, where we fade to white as we witness the Promethean end that has befallen the young Thomas who sought to steal fire from light from a lighthouse keeper. Well, that wraps up the story. So now how about we talk about the... So, I don't think anyone would argue if I said this film was heavily stylized. I mean, just look at it. First of all, let's talk aspect ratio. The lighthouse clocks in at an aspect ratio of 1.19 by 1, meaning that the visible area is just a little bit wider than it is tall, really adding to that whole claustrophobic bit that comes with two essential strangers having to share living space for a couple of months. Plus, this narrow aspect ratio, along with framing and blocking of certain scenes, amplifies that even more. And even makes you feel like a voyeur, spying on the private moments of these two men going mad, and spying on them. Awkward. Speaking of men, dominance and subservience are two massive themes throughout the film. Young Tom essentially here being Old Tom's servant.
I ain't never intended to be no housewife nor slave in taking this job.
Allegedly. Oh, and the bickering. These two nag each other like an old angry married couple. And when it gets really heated, the two become animalistic and bark like dogs. Which is fitting, seeing as when that power dynamic shifted. Yeah, there's no way this didn't start out with some fetishization. Speaking of fetishes, the light, which is quite the sexual idea, perhaps? Something forbidden, something people shouldn't have. Prometheus light, Prometheus fire, lighthouse keeper light story thing? Forbidden knowledge?
The light is mine.
Keeper of the light, lad, and I'll never let no man touch it. Don't consider the light belongs to me!
What I'm saying is it has a lot of metaphors about sex. As for color, well, it's black and white. What do you want me to say? The monochromes are so monochromatic, daddy-o, that it often reminded me of the White Lodge from Twin Peaks. But now, what is interesting is filming using a blue filter. A blue filter darkens all reds that pass through it. First off, darkening actors Pattinson and Dafoe's skin tones, making them look worse for wear. This is best seen in how the red blood on young Tom over here looks like black oil near the end of the film. Kinda like how the old 1931 Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde transformation was done, using colored makeup and filters to reveal it. The mermaid scenes, on the other hand, were not filmed using this blue filter. Notice Pattinson's hands looking quite nice there? But was rather filmed using an old-timey Petzval lens that distorts and swirls the edges of the scenes, kinda like a magnifying lens on a lighthouse. Whoa! The sets were of course hand-built and was mostly filmed in Nova Scotia for that absolutely phenomenal mise-en-scène. Put on art beret. As for the people, actors Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson both play their parts very well. Dafoe brings a liveliness and a certain, what the sailors would call, saltiness to the role.
Same old boring story, eh?
Not once do I doubt old Tom here doesn't believe in the oceanic mythologies he so clings to.
Bad luck to kill a seabird.
And Pattinson here, I'm sure, has long since surpassed people's misconception of him only being known as that Twilight vampire, or the kid that Voldemort alacazaps. As for the birdies, well, we know what a pain it is to work with birds. Ouch! Now, as for the spooky sounds, not only does the sound of the lighthouse give you those good spooky vibes, it also serves thematically. You remember that foghorn going off constantly? Yeah, quite metaphorical, wouldn't you say? The score is composed by Mark Corvin, who has used his wicked little nightmare engine to great effect here, plus has worked on many other fun horror treasures. As for Robert Eggers, well, he really nailed this one. Not only in regards to his directing, but also to his writing, which for this he did with his brother Max. The writing is so theatrical and salty that I just can't help but love it. And that's worth noting, as Eggers used primarily the writing of one Sarah Orne Jewett to get the dialect just right. But I mean, it's also hella Lovecraftian and nightmarishly Poe-esque. Ooh, speaking of Poe, this film is kinda inspired by an unfinished story by Edgar Allan Poe. Although there is barely any resemblance to what Poe wrote, The Lighthouse did start off as an attempt at using what little Poe had written, which again was unfinished and like 700 words, and consisted of diary entries. Eggers is also known and celebrated for his other folk horror film, of course, The Witch. But now, Eggers has something that makes my shriveled husk of a heart moisten even more than that. He also did a great adaptation of Edgar Allan Poe's Telltale Heart. It's so gloomy and moody, I love it so much. In conclusion, I really like this film. I really like it. I really like it. I think Eggers is doing pretty awesome work so far, and I'm really looking forward to see where his career goes. But now, The Lighthouse, this isn't like any of the other Lovecraftian movies we've looked at on this channel. This isn't super silly and goofy. This isn't tongue-in-cheek. This is ocean in your mouth. But holy moly, do I love it. It's dark, it's claustrophobic, it's madness-inducing, and I love it. And I think you should give it a try. Ha! This will smash that door down. Ha! A heave, a ho, and away we go! Yeah! Yeah! Ha! Avast ye landlubber, and square up for fisticuff. Oh? Ye were reviewing The Lighthouse. Well, that's one of me favorite movies. It's an analysis, not a review, and The Lighthouse is a film, not a movie? Yeah, whatever you say, you pretentious landlubber. Now get the hell out of me house before I call the cops on ye ass. I'll be keeping the movie, if you don't mind. Well, I guess that's it for this episode, friendos. Subscribe for more and consider sharing with a friend. Oh, jeez. Oh, my fingers. Oh.